If you've ever watched Riverdale, you probably had a moment or two when you thought, wait, what actually is going on? Well, you're not the only one. It turns out even the show's cast is cringed out by its plot and implausible plot twists.
I mean, I think considering one of the main villains of last season was a bottle of maple syrup, I think like...
Wait, what? Prepare to dive in to probably the weirdest video of a show's cast reacting to their own content. But beware, it's about to get cringy. Also, spoiler alert. With that being said, let's dive in. From teens that are the same age 7 years later to a body that doesn't compose for 2 years, Riverdale has got all the WTFs a show needs. It's a teen drama, mystery, soap opera, crime thriller, basically an everything burrito.
I love you, everything burrito.
Of genres, characters, jokes, and plot twists that have got us both hooked and heavily intrigued. The series and its ensemble cast are based on Archie comics, with KJ Apa playing Archie Andrews, Lily Reinhart as the girl next door, Betty Cooper, Camila Mendez as new girl Veronica Lodge, and Cole Sprouse as the outcast Jughead Jones, the show's narrator. Riverdale follows the life of Archie in the seemingly perfect little town, Riverdale. But mysterious deaths trigger intrigues all around town, family secrets come to light, and the relationships between the characters are real roller coasters. They're also really confusing.
We know what the outcome of that situation is going to be. I think they're both weirded out, but they're not actually related by blood, so they're just gonna keep going until maybe they find out they are related.
So Betty gets involved with Jughead. Then we get introduced to Charles, who is Betty and Jughead's shared half-brother, and somehow that doesn't turn them off.
Excuse
The
me?
brother and sister weirdness does not stop here. Cheryl Blossom and her brother Jason are technically twins. I say technically because, well, he's 1 year older than her. And he attends the same class as Betty's older sister, Polly. Then the writers threw in some casual speculation that they were in a secret relationship. It just seems like the show's writers never know where the show is headed, so they just do several directions at the same time all the time. Or, you know, that time Nana explains that her ex-husband cheated on her a lot and had a bunch of babies with other women, and then Nana had to deal with them, so she found a couple who lived in the woods and named the Starkweathers to take in all of the kids. How is that the best solution for Nana? And how often does one find a couple living in the woods and eager to adopt illegitimate children? Speaking of children, remember that time Veronica holds Hiram hostage? Because of course she does, and lectures him about basically being bad at parenting. She is completely ignoring all the murder he's been doing, and instead she focuses on that one time he was mean to her. I mean, if you're gonna point fingers, you might as well mention the murdering. Okay, so the discussions between the characters are sometimes weird, and the way these characters think seems just plain irrational. But at least the cast loves their characters, right? Well, this is what Lily Reinhart had to say when asked what she likes about her character Betty.
Similarity? I don't know. I like her cute sweaters. They take them right from me, yeah.
Because you never know when we need a flashback or a flash
Oh yeah,
forward.
gotta save all that wardrobe.
That reminds us of the fact that no one really seems to age in this show, even though the timeline spans many years. And Lily's not the only Riverdale cast member confused by the scriptwriter and director's decisions. Even though they enjoy filming it, the cast is famously amused by the series.
Do you guys still have those like WTF moments when you're reading the script for the first time?
Oh, 100%.
Like,
sure.
All my
where-
lines are WTF moments.
All my lines are like,
Yep, we're not surprised, KJ. Although the main character, Archie Andrews, is generally a kind-hearted, easy-to-love character, he is also famous for making incredibly unwise decisions. For example, he insists on getting involved with Hiram Lodge after everything Hiram has done to him. Archie even accepted an old boxing gym from Hiram after he ended up in prison because of him. He didn't question Hiram's ulterior motives for 1 second. Also, trying to end the Black Hood's reign of terror, Archie created the Red Circle, a group of mostly football players tasked with taking the law into their own hands and protecting the town. But this ended up being just another gang, causing more violence and chaos than there was in the first place. It also didn't work when Archie tried to disband the gang. They only continued causing problems under a different name. And that's not the end. Just think of how Archie generally treats women when he gets involved with them. First of all, he seems to get involved with pretty much every woman on the show, no matter her age. At the start of the series, Archie becomes romantically involved with his music teacher, Ms. Grundy, who was way older than him. While the mutual attraction made sense, the relationship was still wildly inappropriate. Because of their relationship, Ms. Grundy actually withheld information on Jason Blossom's case for a good while. She also had to leave town. But, I guess she's an adult and makes her own decisions. Later on, Ms. Grundy is dating another teenager. Then she gets killed by a weird hooded figure. After his music teacher, Archie went on to date Betty, Josie, Lori, just to name a few. And many times he seems to just take them for granted. Remember all those excuses he kept making with Betty? I wonder why all these girls keep falling for him.
Betty has a lot of energy and a lot of tolerance to do a lot of things, whereas I don't have that.
Maybe that's true. The way Betty talks to people is not necessarily full of energy.
And then Jughead and I went back to FP's trailer. Oh, Betty, if that beanie-wearing cat defiled you, at least please tell me that you were safe. What? No, Mom. We didn't. I mean, we almost did.
Who talks to their mom like that? Talk about chats with moms. Check this one out.
What is that?
Chocolate almond croissant from Bean and Beluga. Fortunately, I only have the one.
The other thing, Veronica.
Oh, this. A mimosa. There's a bottle of champagne in the fridge just begging to be popped.
Okay, that was a bottle of Cristal for your father.
So her daughter is having champagne and orange juice for breakfast, and she is concerned that her husband will get angry that she opened the bottle. Once again, it seems like the show's writers don't really use real-life inspiration for this movie. Also, their cliffhangers are not always on point. Think of that time at the end of season 3 where we're left thinking whether Jughead will die or not. It was pretty clear to fans that Jughead won't die, simply because he's the show's narrator. The story is told from his perspective. Without Jughead, there would literally not be any more Riverdale. Also, Cole Sprouse confirmed in an interview that he had signed a 6-year contract with the producers. So, yeah.
No, I signed a big, long contract.
Okay.
The cast doesn't even bother to keep the secret, as casts normally do. And what's up with the women burning down houses? First, Cheryl burns down her childhood home after all the bad memories. Oh, her mother was also inside the house at the time. She could have just sold it, right? Then Betty, who does sell the house, gets super upset over a variety of reasons, so she decides to burn the curtains in the house. This leads to the entire wall catching fire, of course, and this doesn't startle her. She watches this absent-mindedly, then just leaves to go talk to Jughead. Wait, what? Talk about Jughead, he does end up burning his house too, although in his case, it's perhaps a bit more understandable. He burns down his trailer to prevent his mom from using it as a lab for cooking up narcotics. The question remains, why were none of these 3 teens arrested for arson? The WTF moments continue.
I've watched some of the episodes, and there were definitely times where I went, how did he get inside Betty's house and no one hear it?
He's talking about the Gargoyle King, who somehow manages to sneak into Betty's house in complete silence in all his might and twigness.
Either he put the costume on like they're really quick, or he shuffled through the small back door or window in a bunch of twigs.
Did he duck in with his little wings, whatever they are?
So, do the cast enjoy filming Riverdale? Most likely. Do they think it's a deep and carefully written show?
Being part of a show is one thing, then being part of a show that touches people on such like a deep level, that must be I mean, what does that feel like? I've actually never had a show that's done that. So, go ahead.
It doesn't feel good.
Thanks for that, KJ. Here's something that The Verge has concluded about Riverdale after naming it the best-worst television show. Riverdale episodes are series of intense scenes where literally anything can happen. These 16-year-olds sometimes talk and behave like middle-aged people, and their parents act like teens. When it comes to Riverdale, my advice is to expect the unexpected, but don't expect too much. What's your favorite cringy moment from Riverdale? Are you a fan of the show, or do you find it too weird to handle? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and if you liked our video, why not click the button and subscribe to our channel.